Hello, and welcome to Friends of Terry Virgil's broadcast. And today's episode is Guantanamo Bay illegal release by Obama. Let's kind of talk about this here and kind of give you a little description of what we're going after right here, and say that what Obama wants to do is really totally illegal by allowing terrorists and known terrorists back into the United States, or that they never been to the United States at all to commit their terrorism, but there are the type of people that would rather behead Americans and to put Americans on stakes and let them slide down stakes, crucify them, burn them alive. You name it, they would love to do it, and yet Obama wants to set them free to commit their havoc here in the United States of America. So the thing that you're looking at when you close Guantanamo Bay is the fact that a known Muslim such as Obama and is sitting in the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and he knows that we have terrorists in Guantanamo Bay that should not even be allowed into society, in any society, period. These are criminals that are very, very violent. They are very, very unstable. And a lot of times people say, well, yes, they're Muslims. They deserve to be treated humanely. Well, here's a little simple fact. They never treated any human being humanely, except for those who believe in the occult group called the Muslim. And I call it an occult group because that's exactly what it is. Anybody that follows the words of Satan commits violence against human beings and are not humane. We could see this happening today after day. We read it in the news constantly. We see these things in the news constantly. Yes, I see the liberal media does not broadcast these things because, believe it or not, I think the liberal media, such as ABC News, and especially George Stephanopoulos, feels that enough talking about terrorists and talking about Guantanamo Bay, or anybody that does anything on CBS, NBC, CNN. I'm not going to include Fox because I believe Foxes will broadcast anything that comes from Guantanamo Bay. And we know that the liberal media is really showing that they are in favor of having these murderers, the terrorists, free to commit all kinds of terrorist ideas. Number one, Obama does not believe in the Constitution, and everybody should know that. Obama hates the Constitution by stating this much. The Constitution is a living Constitution whereby we could do whatever we feel like doing at any given time. Unquote. I'm quoting it and unquoting it. And that's exactly a fact. If you are a liberal, a Democrat, listening to this broadcast, shame on you. Shame on you for agreeing with Obama. Shame on you for wanting to have your own head lopped off by a terrorist group. Shame on you for having no humanity or human rights. Shame on you for not wanting freedom and liberty. Shame on those liberals and Democrats. Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders loved the idea of freeing these prisoners so that they could commit more havoc, more chaos in the United States of America, and to kill more people. I understand that there's a few things that we should know, and you should know this too. If you believe in Sharia law, you are a moron because you believe in slavery, you believe in murdering people, you believe in cutting people's heads off and burning them alive, or sticking a stake up their rear end to let them slide down that stake, or even anything else, an atrocity that's worse than that. Crucifying people, quartering, and making sure that people suffer. That's what the Muslim faith is all about. People, I've given you warnings, I've given you sites, I've told you about these things, and yet you may not have even looked them up. This is how dangerous and how evil the Muslim faith is. I'm going to give you a little history lesson. Around 600 AD, before, and this is before the Crusades happened. The Crusades happened around about 1400 AD, or someplace in that neighborhood. 600 AD, the Muslim faith, or those who believe in the Muslim occult group, or if they want to call themselves a church, almost took over Europe and Asia. Almost. They were held back by some group in France. Thankfully. And we could thank God for that. And all that time, they were killing people by beheadings. They were putting people on stakes. They let them slide down those poles in the rear ends. They were putting people, tying their thumbs to trees and watching them go down these stakes and poles. They put people in cages. They burned people alive. They drowned people in the sea. They crucified people. They tortured people like you wouldn't believe in 600 AD. And that was done by the man that wrote the Quran and started all this by the name of Muhammad. That's right, people. This is supposed to be a church group of peace, and all they want to do is commit murder. That's why we got to say Obama is a fan of, and he is a Muslim, truthfully, a fan of committing atrocities and having crimes committed like such. This is the one thing that we have got to warn people all about and go after Obama for these things. If he thinks he could get away with emptying out Guantanamo Bay by going around Congress, that's a criminal act and it's illegal because of the treaties and things that we've gotten in our laws that protect us in the United States of America about Guantanamo. That's a prison camp that's meant for those who hate and will destroy America and are non-Americans. That's a place where we put those who commit treason and atrocities and chaos against all Americans. You got to understand these facts. These people are very much, they're not sick. They follow a cult group called the Muslim faith. And a lot of times you could say it's the Islamic State of Muslims. And they love to kill Christians, and they love to kill Jews. Their main point is to kill every Jew and every Christian on earth, because we do not believe in their God, Allah, who is a black rock. I don't care if you are a Muslim and hate these programs. Good. Learn to read your own murderous state. Get out of that murderous state if you are a Muslim. Become a Christian and become, if you want to, because God is calling you to come over to His side and to believe His way. But by the way, Christianity is a religious, or a lot of people call religion, of peace. Because God talks about peace. There is no place in the Quran that talks about peace. There's no place in Sharia law that talks about peace. Every place that I have read so far, and I've done my research in both the Quran and Sharia law, speak about the atrocities against humanity and the atrocities that they like to commit against Christians and Jews. It's written there. It's been their law since 600 AD or thereabouts. I'm going to guess about 634 AD. And then the atrocities that they've committed, the crimes that they have committed against humanities, those that are leaders, such as Obama, should be put in Guantanamo Bay. He fears Guantanamo Bay because he knows he has broken the law several times by going around Congress. All Congress needs is to impeach him and to have him tried by the Senate. That's the only answer, and have him shipped off to Guantanamo Bay in isolation, where he can't speak to anybody, where he doesn't see anybody, where he does not even have the sight to see anybody. That's where he belongs. Because we need our freedom and liberty, not the slavery that Obama wants to bring about in the United States of America, not the murder and the atrocities and the heinous crimes that he wants to bring into the United States of America. That's why he said these words, and I could quote these words: now we could take America by evolution versus revolution, because he became a Democrat and became something that is not American. Guantanamo Bay is the place where he should not and must not even be part of. And we could say this much: Obama needs to visit there as an inmate, nothing else. And that's it in a nutshell. Obama needs to be put in there to live the rest of his miserable life. I don't like to put judgment on people. But when you come out and you want to destroy the United States of America, you want to destroy our freedom, our liberties, well, I'm going to say, and say this much: we must never, ever empty Guantanamo Bay. If there's a chance of hope to defeat the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, which is known as ISIS, keeping people in Guantanamo Bay is the right thing and the right thing to do, because those that they free and let out in certain parts of the world will come right back and to destroy America within. Obama likes the open border system so that those who do atrocities like the Muslim Church does, and to do